Hello boys and girls, welcome back to Solo Homesteader, aka All Mine Ranch. It's Friday, I'm taking the day off of work. It's a 3-day weekend so I can get some work done on my solar array and other projects. So I'll show you where I'm at with that project, but just a quick update. What happened this week? Had a visit by a skunk, I'm pretty sure. It was either a cat or a skunk. It was dark out, hard to tell. Pretty sure it was a skunk. Had a red-tailed hawk fly so hard into one of my large glass windows on my tiny house that I thought someone had dropped, it sounded and felt like somebody dropped a 20-pound bag of flour on my roof from 50 feet high. Literally, it was a thunk and a shake. I thought, what the? I literally thought something had fallen on the roof, from the sky. I looked outside just in time to see a hawk fly off and see his reddish feathers smashed against the glass. Didn't crack the glass, shockingly. But he was stunned, but he flew away, so that's good. I just uploaded a video to my other channel, You Sure Talk a Lot. Go check that out. But I was going off about how much I like Dark Side of the Moon. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to get me a Dark Side of the Moon flag. So I got one there. It's the companion to my Bitcoin flag. In fact, in that video, my last video, I talked about the similarities between the elegance and the beauty of Dark Side of the Moon, the album, and Bitcoin. All right, enough yakking on that. I just wanted to share, I'm at a stage on the solar array where I've got to really think through how I'm paneling this thing in. So I just dug 2 more holes that 4x4s are going to go down in those holes so I can run boards across so that my paneling has something to, attach to. I'm going to do the same thing down here with this piece of wood. Hopefully you can see that. That's not exactly where it goes, but it's going to span from that corner back to there. And again, I need a nailing face for all of my paneling. And I'm also thinking about what to do about... I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. What to do about this big gap under the container. Wind can come under there and come up to and push the solar panels out. So I do have scrap wood, but I've got this stuff sticking out here, this wood that is this railroad tie and this piece of wood that's holding this whole corner of this container up. It's sticking out in my way. So I've got to get rid of that wood. There's also a hole here, so what I think I'm going to do, since it's about to be concrete pouring time, I think I'm going to pour a little level thing of concrete right there in that sort of half hole, let it harden, give myself a nice foundation there to put wood on, and then take a 4x4 or 6x6 block, brace it up under that corner, pour some more cement around it, and let that be the corner support, and then take out the railroad ties. And then I'm going to take scrap tin, old tin that was left on this land when I bought the property that I've been saving, and screw it to this metal frame to provide a wind barrier. Then I'll backfill it with some gravel, and then there'll also be paneling coming up from the bottom here to this wood. And so that will be 2 layers of wind blockage. So between scrap tin and T111 siding, I'm going to panel in this entire solar array. This portion of it's slow going. It's sort of that type of work where you don't feel like you're making progress, but it is absolutely essential. It is critical to the construction, and it actually is progress. It's just not carpentry that allows things to come together in a visually stunning way, but it has to be done. No different than the painting of the wood in advance. I talked in the last video about pre-painting. Trying to go slow so you don't get dizzy. pre-painting wood and T111 siding. So you can see I'm in here with the red paint doing more ledger boards and stuff. These are going to be the rails that actually support the solar panels. Whoops, these guys. So it's again a lot like last weekend. Painting, carpentry, digging holes, cement, you know, just more of the same. But I'm making progress. So I'm not going to film all of this today, but I got a 3-day weekend. I will periodically stop and give you an update and let you know how it's going and share my thoughts with you. Glad you're here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. All right, I just poured 4 bags of cement. I had a bag and a half here, here, and then back here to fill in that hole. Once again, this is going to be supports for the backing of the paneling. So there's going to be a board running across there. So there's a nailing surface. That's pretty much it, I think, for cement work for this particular solar array. So today's Friday. It's payday. I've budgeted about $170 more for lumber, which means I'm not going to kill myself today. Let me go to the shade here. That sun. Oh. Can you see me? That's better. The sun's pretty brutal. Great temperature, but the sun is very bright, very sunny. So I got about $170 to spend on lumber this payday. So that's going to buy me a few more 2x10s for this right side solar array. Just random wood, 2x10s, 2x6s, 2x4s, and 2x3s of varying lengths. I mean, that doesn't buy a ton of lumber, but I'm trying to use up what extra random pieces of 2x4s and wood that I have. Some cull lumber, the purple tag stuff for some of the backing supports here. Oops, let me bring this up. But my point is, once I have paneling on that, you're not going to see any of the wood behind it. So it's a good opportunity to use up, you know, extra random wood that I've been saving up for future projects because it won't be seen. So if it's a little warped or a little curved, no big deal. It's all going to be hidden inside behind, underneath solar panels or behind T111 siding. But I want to be able to get going on the second solar array on the other side. So that requires, you know, big long 2x10s and cross supports and all that. So I'm going to go to Home Depot. Whoops. So I'm going to go to Home Depot later around dinner time. It's usually pretty quiet in there on a Friday about 5-6 p.m. even though it's going to be rush hour in Sierra Vista, but I'm going to that Home Depot, spend my budget. So I don't want to exhaust myself before I do that. Otherwise, it's just no fun. So I've done the cement work. I'm going to do a little more carpentry, maybe cut some of that scrap metal I was talking about earlier to help skirt in the container to block wind, and then probably just call it a day, relax a little bit, and then head to Home Depot later. So that's my rough plan. Good morning. Saturday morning. The work shall continue, but I just spent about 2.5 hours video editing. Make sure you like and subscribe to show your appreciation for the efforts that I put in to bring you these videos. It's not insubstantial. So yesterday was mostly, you know, that and painting, and I also cut these 2 strips of extra tin metal 12 inches wide. That's going to be skirting for my container for a wind block. And I also then at the end of the day went to Home Depot and spent my $170 budget almost to the penny, which was just an estimate. It was a pretty good, oh, come on, adjust. Pretty good estimate. Sorry it's so dark. Come on, man. Anyway, so I've got a bunch of 2x10s, 2x6s, 2 by everything. A bunch of 2-aught lumber, dimensional lumber. So first things first, I got to unload this load of lumber somewhere, and then figure out what I'm going to do next. I tell you every video, I try to follow my moods. Although my solar array has next steps with paneling and framing, I also want to go with what I feel like working on. Sometimes that's actually landscaping. Like I moved some rocks around yesterday from where I dug those holes. There's a bunch of rocks and dirt that came out. I need to get that out of the way so that general solar array area is clear. I can't tell you how many times, because of the slope and the small rocks and big rocks that are everywhere, that I slip and almost bust ass. So I have to constantly move rocks and dirt and rake it and level it out a little bit just so it's a safe working area. Because, you know, trying to move heavy boards while you're walking on ground that is unstable, it's kind of dangerous, right? But it's going to be a productive day. It's day 2 of a 3-day weekend, so time to just turn and burn, as we used to say in the Navy. You know, I said it before and I'll say it again, it's all about having the right tool for the job. So in less than 5 minutes, I was able to use this bottle jack up the corner of this container, put the block under here, but before I lowered it back down, I got rid of the railroad ties that were under here and over here that were kind of blocking my skirting. So I lowered the building down onto that block. I still have a railroad tie under that, but it's recessed about 1/2 inch, so it's not in my way anymore. So just like that, boom, with barely any effort, building up, blocks out, building back down. You just got to have the right tool for the job. If I didn't have that bottle jack, it would have been so much more difficult and dangerous. So, and I did all that in half the time it takes to get my bacon in the toaster oven and get my breakfast going. So my paint is drying on adjust. I painted my metal skirting here reddish, if you can see that. Paint's drying, so I'm gonna go have breakfast and then I'll rejoin you. All right, well, it's Sunday morning. I just spent an hour messing around with YouTube videos, published my second part 2 video from my build last weekend. On my camera right now, I've got yesterday's footage and we'll have today's footage. I'm sore, I'm tired, but it feels good. It's that great kind of exhaustion that comes only from hard work. I'm going to get going early. The sun's already been up for a half hour. I've been up for almost an hour and a half, but I had to just create some thumbnails for YouTube, get some content uploaded. If you're not already subscribed, go to You Sure Talk A Lot, my other channel. The description is below. I've been talking a lot lately about Bitcoin, but not just, you know, crypto talk, because first of all, Bitcoin is not crypto. It's the opposite of crypto, although they get lumped together. But I was explaining why it's important to the world. No technical information, no investing advice or anything like that. But I feel Bitcoin is extremely important to the world and to individuals and to understand what it is. So I've been talking about that a lot, so go check that out. But today's just another cool, quiet morning. Slept like a rock because of physical exhaustion. Woke up to some cow poop right outside my door. Stanley didn't utter a word. I'll mention though, on my solar array that you've seen me build over these last few episodes, it's coming along slowly but surely. But I'm sort of at a phase now where I can't just finish it because this first solar array also encompasses a solar closet. I have to dig a trench between my main house and that solar closet and figure out some specifics. You know, when you start framing and doing carpentry in a way that encloses something, you have to make some final decisions about where's the power coming in, where's the hole in the building that my power line is going to come into, where does ground wire come through. How am I going to get access here in the future if I need to get under this thing and fix something? You know, so I have to think about, oh, well, I'm going to put an access port here, which means I need some framing here and framing there. There's some very detailed things that you really have to finalize before you can just finish a building. because that's essentially what that solar array is. It's a shed-like building that kind of is built around another building, a small closet, a utility closet for my solar gear. So I have to think about where the gear is going to go, where the inverter is going to go on the wall, where the battery is going to go, where's the junction boxes, where's the power distribution, hardware. Nope, I see some bunnies hopping around out there. So we've got deers, bunnies, cow shit, and birds this morning so far. Anyway, my point is you have to make some decisions as you get closer to finishing something. And the decisions, it requires me pausing, thinking through some things, and then continuing and doing some detail work that doesn't contribute to the overall visual impressiveness of the structure, but it is absolutely necessary. And I'm getting to the point where I have to start buying breaker boxes, electrical panel boxes for the main house and in the closet, and connecting those two up via, power lines that run through a trench to the main house. So I'm getting into that transition phase where I started building a solar panel array for the main house that I will eventually live in, but now I'm going to actually have to start connecting some cables between the two, which means I'm sort of transitioning into that phase where I'm doing electrical work on the main house, which is I'm not quite ready to do yet, psychologically or financially, but because it connects to the closet that I'm working on, the solar closet, which connects to the solar panels that I'm working on, I have to think that type of stuff through. So that's where I'm at with the build. I'll show you some of that in a little bit after I'm done with my coffee and another 15 or 20 minutes of solitude out here on the deck. It's cool, it's quiet. It's about 60 degrees. It's a nice fall morning, crispness in the air. But I've got to move some gravel around. I've got to do some painting. I've got to do some carpentry. There's just a full day of work to do today. Welcome to my world. I also want to mention that the channel is going to change a little bit over the next couple months, not drastically, but I'm going to do a little bit less of, okay, here's what I'm building, step by step. And I'm going to focus more on content for at least a little while that will help you and help others get a similar situation going, whether it's desert or mountains or at the beach or down in Mexico or wherever you want to do your thing. If you're into off-gridding or just having a more peaceful life of solitude and you're not sitting on millions of dollars just to buy something that's turnkey ready and you might have to build it yourself, I want to give you some more content as far as ideas, concepts, tools that have been helpful to me, what has worked, what hasn't worked, do more tours of the place, kind of back up and step you through the evolution of my water systems and solar power systems and all that, because it really has been a multi-phase build out here and it still continues, and I haven't even got into the heart of it yet, which is building out the main house, the main structure. It's all been about outbuildings and getting basic functionality out here. Well, now I'm moving to more advanced functionality, more advanced, more expensive systems, and I just want to make content that will help a broader audience, not just show you exactly what I'm working on every weekend, right? So the focus is going to change just a little bit, but hopefully it'll be more entertaining actually instead of less entertaining.